Alright, brother, hold up. It's the man of knowledge coming at your way. Check it in, check it out. Peace. Look, I've been waiting on Stephen A. Smith to talk all day, but he came on here as a little mature. The question is, did the Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson fight overshadow Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones fight? Now, if you ask me, I gotta admit, I'll be honest, it definitely did. Now, if that Roy Jones Mike Tyson fight was back in the early '90s, it would have been a different story. But they're both old men, way out of their prime. Roy Jones obviously has a little more sauce than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson hasn't really had a fight like that since 2006. But anyway, I'm gonna walk in. We're gonna dive into this topic. Let's see what Stephen F. Smith had to say.
Stephen A., what do you think was the bigger story? Was it Tyson Jones, or was it the fact that we saw Nate Robinson get KO'd?
I think it was Nate Robinson getting put to sleep. And when I say sleep, I mean sleep.
I noticed the broad face. How she said, definitely.
Sleep. I'm talking about out, not moving, completely out cold. Max, I don't know if it was smelling salt.
Motherfucker was unconscious.
To something that they use, but he was on that canvas. I counted for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And when he sat up, they put the stool near him, and he couldn't even gather himself together to get up on the stool. This brother was put to sleep in a way that you only see that happen to people.
Look, Stephen A. I'm sorry, not Stephen A. Smith. Max Kellerman. No, it's not your turn.
People that take Ambien, it was that bad.
And Benadryl.
And I'm not going to be like other people in the NBA where, folks were joking around. I thought he was really, really hurt. I was scared for him when he didn't move, and he got KO'd like that. And it was just something sad to see. Jake Paul clearly had more.
Yeah, he had more experience. Definitely.
Experience, clearly had more skill. He was
Facts.
The bigger, heavier fighter on top of that. Plus, he was the better boxer. And
well, here's the thing. Nate Robinson is not a boxer. He only trained for half a year. Name me one boxer that has trained, a so-called boxer that has trained for half a year, that's really never had a fight like that in his life, to fight someone who's more experienced and then expected to even win. Hey, Robinson, you spent your whole career shooting threes, layups, dunks, man. Get your shit together, man. I don't even know what the purpose of y'all was fighting about, honestly. But I do know your ass got knocked the fuck out. Words of John Witherspoon. R.I.P.
And literally, Nate came in with his face. And so I thank God he's all right, and major props to him for joining the chat room. I heard he joined the chat room and was just taking the criticism like a man. I got a lot of love for the kid. I'm not, ain't nothing to laugh about. It was scary, to be quite honest with you, and it just goes to show what Snoop Dogg and all of them was saying, because I thought Snoop Dogg was absolutely fabulous calling the fight. He said,
"No, Snoop Dogg was high. That's what Snoop Dogg was. Snoop Dogg was just high. Okay? He over there on that Styles P. He over there trying to get high. You remember when he was in Soul Plane? When Snoop Dogg was in Soul Plane? When he was playing the Captain Mac? and when they was getting ready to ship off, what happened? When they was getting ready to take flight, what happened? Snoop Dogg turned on that song on that radio. Styles P trying to get high.
He said, "You don't play. You know this better than me, Max. You don't play boxing. You don't play boxing."
That's a fact. You don't play boxing like you play basketball or like you play football. You get out there and you do it. That's what separates boxing from other matches. You see, boxing is a component. Boxing is a prime example of what life is, and it pretty much sums up what Sylvester Stallone, aka Rocky, what he said. It's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and get back up. That's facts. Now, you know, if you said Nate Robinson took that criticism like a man, props to you, man, because you know that's the thing in this society. Men oftentimes are always going to get shamed for their fuck-ups and their failures. You always get overly criticized and laughed at and judged. It's always the man, particularly the so-called black man. Because the so-called black man has always been trained and processed out and thought in his own mind, but because of his own matriarchal mind indoctrination, that he's not good enough. And it starts in the matriarchal home when he's raising these matriarchal single mother home parenthood, in these single home parents. That he's not good enough, or one's better than the other, etc., etc. Look in the black community, you see it every day. Alright?
Box, you get in that ring. You either know what you're doing or you stay the hell out of there.
I agree. That's like having a chihuahua or a teacup fighting a damn pit bull or bulldog. Well, why would you do that? Do you really expect that teacup or that chihuahua to win? Fuck out of here.
Nate is super athletic and scrappy, but
that's like a young brother trying to tell an old brother something. Well, how can you do that? He's more experienced than you. Experience plays a big factor.
A lot of people who like fight and think if they fought in the street and they had any success there, or fought in a locker room.
Fought in the street? Nigga, that's Nate Robinson, not Kimbo Slice.
Room or wherever, that they're going to get in a boxing ring without being trained.
Hey, yo, I don't know. I think I met Kimbo Slice back in Miami back in 2012. I may be wrong, but I think I met Kimbo Slice in 2012. Like I say, hey, in Miami. I may be wrong.
No, Jake Paul had muscle memory because Jake Paul is taking his fighting seriously over the last couple of years and is really putting in the work, and it's showing. His muscle memory is just better than Nate's was, right? And so, okay, that's what happens in boxing. The biggest story was Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. That was the best version of what that fight.
Something like, hey, you know what? That fight looked very similar to what happened between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. That's what they remind me of all over again.
Could have been. They came in shape, Tyson especially. And the funny thing is about Roy, Stephen A., is at his best, he was a better pound-for-pound fighter than Mike, even though Mike at his best, probably the best pound-for-pound in the world, too. But Roy was best pound-for-pound for almost like a decade. He was amazing.
I agree.
At his best, he's the best I've seen in my lifetime. But
Mike Tyson has a damn Iron Man hit, though. That nigga fist literally made out of iron. I think that nigga really picked bricks and some iron in his damn glove. Boxing glove before the fight. He has to.
His style was based on an overwhelming speed advantage.
Facts. Mike Tyson's game was just based off strength.
Tyson's style was based on overcoming a big height deficit and reach deficit as a heavyweight. So while Jones was considered the quote-unquote boxer in this fight, no, Jones is the athlete who needs to start feeling.
I agree with you, Max Kellerman. I really agree.
It. Fight off a rhythm to get going. Mike is the more technical fighter. Always was.
Right. Absolutely. I technically agree. If you ask me, in my opinion, Mike is the better fighter. Jones is the better athlete.
And he showed it in this fight. But right around the third of...
That's something like when you're talking about point guards in the NBA. Let's say if you use Kyrie Irving versus Russell Westbrook, who will be considered as the better NBA player? Kyrie Irving. Why? Because Kyrie Irving is the better player. Russell Westbrook is the better athlete.
Third or fourth round, it's like, damn, Roy's got nothing for Mike. Mike is too strong. Roy even said it after the fight. You saw those body shots really hurting Roy. And I saw a look in Roy's face, and Roy is a friend of mine, like a genuine friend of mine, and I worked with him for years. And so, like, I'm like, Roy, don't go out like this, you know, and I don't want to see him get hurt. And Stephen A., it looked to me, he was huffing and puffing, feeling the body shots. It looked to me like Roy said, hell no, I'm not going out like this, and rejuvenated himself and made it a fight. Whether or not it was a draw, it's something else, but Roy made it competitive. He refused to just get run over. And because of that, because no one got hurt, I was highly entertained in the end. I thought that was the best version of what that fight might have been, and I wouldn't mind seeing Mike do it again, provided you match him right. Another old guy, another small guy, not a big young guy.
Well, you know, when it comes to the liberal Caucasian, you know, he loves to be entertained when it comes to the so-called black men. Now, what if Roy Jones and Mike Tyson were two black men speaking out on political issues from a commercial, logical perspective rather than a emotional, reactive perspective? If they were talking in a proactive manner, standing up for themselves, would you consider him as your friend then, sir? That's just something I had to call out too. I'm just saying.
I was very relieved that Roy didn't get hurt because...
Me too. With his small ass.
It's not, you know, listen, Tyson obviously is what he's 54 years old, and you know what, it was good to see him in the shape that he was in. Obviously he's 54 years old, so you weren't going to see the same Mike, but I was scared for Roy's life because of how I'd seen Roy get knocked out in previous years. So I'm thinking there's some damage there, and if he...
I seen one fight. I don't think it was Roy Jones, but I tell you this, I seen one fight. Man, somebody got hit so damn hard, the motherfucker had... motherfucker flipped his ass. She was in there.
Gets caught right, it could be, well, Nate Robinson. Well, it turns out that did not happen to Roy, so I was very...
Oh, no, he didn't get Nate Robinson. He was gonna get Mike Tyson back from when Mike Tyson suffered his first loss from who was, I think, was it Sugar Ray? Wasn't it Sugar Ray Robinson?
Very, very relieved about that. But
and Roy got caught a couple times.
Nate had just got, but I know that. But if he had just gotten hurt, Max, and wobbled, I'm talking about Nate Robinson here. If he had just got hurt, wobbled, TKO, that would be different. But to go out the way he went out, listen, that's what everybody's talking about because of the way he went out. I mean, literally, it's very, very rare that you see somebody literally put to sleep. And that's what happened.
If you get in the
ring. You better go back and watch that Nate Robinson fight, Stephen A. Smith.
If you get in the ring, it's a brave thing because especially on TV, and you're a famous person, you might get put to sleep. Snoring and everything. Out. That's the risk you take in boxing. And by the way, worse things than that can happen. But that's why it requires bravery, right? Courage. Nate was brave and courageous and maybe crazy because he was not prepared for a guy who was really taking fighting seriously the last couple of years.
But Max, what I'm saying is in hindsight, I totally get you. But for those 2 minutes that he was laying there, not moving, were you not scared? I was.
Yeah, and he also, the first knockdown, he was caught kind of behind the ear in the back of the head. It's a dangerous shot.
Yeah, motherfucker could have been suffering brain trauma, some type of serious concussion or some shit. But luckily for him, he's still breathing. God bless. Well, anyway, that's it up on that topic. If I find another segment, I'll touch on. But yeah, man. In other words, though, with all due respect to Nate Robinson, please stay out of that boxing ring, brother. Anyway, peace.